Hello and welcome to Devil's Advocate. How confident is Asif Zardari of Nawaz Sharif's support, and what sort of policies will their government pursue towards India? Those are the two issues I shall raise today with the chairman of the Pakistan People's Party, Asif Zardari. Mr. Zardari, are you confident that Nawaz Sharif will support your government for the full 5 years? Or do you suspect that he might be tempted to pull the rug after a year or 18 months?
I think that by and large it depends on the larger party, because we've got the large mandate. We have to show humility. We have to take him into our heart and build confidence in my opponents, for that matter.
Yours is absolutely the right attitude. The problem is that Nawaz Sharif has already announced that he would welcome back into the PMLN all those who are today in the PMLQ, and if that were to happen, suddenly his numbers would swell beyond yours and he'd become the larger party.
I think the problems faced by Pakistan today are beyond the number games, are beyond the immediate politics. So I think the more we get down to business and the more we get into governance, we'll realize that. And when that dawns on everybody, we'll all stand in line and start delivering.
Except Nawaz Sharif has already said that his party won't be actually in the cabinet that you form, and many people suspect that he's keeping open the option of withdrawing support without any cost to himself.
Then one shall face that position when one is faced with it. Why should I apprehend? Why should I feel? Why should I go into the fear technology or a fear factor? No, I shouldn't. I should stand in the positive factor. I'll stand on positivity and I'll take it from there.
The problem is, let's for a moment concentrate on some of the important differences between the two of you.
Sure.
To begin with, Nawaz Sharif has said that he wants the immediate impeachment of General Musharraf. You've said to the Wall Street Journal that you don't have the numbers. Makhdoom Amin Fahim has said that this wouldn't be wise, it would rock the boat. But Nawaz isn't satisfied with those answers. You've got a problem there, haven't you?
No, I don't think it's a problem. I think it's a perception. He realizes, we realize that we have to mature as a democracy, and the parliament is the replacement to the system. There is a system of governance today. The world is comfortable with it. We have to gain the world's confidence. We have to gain the people's confidence. We have to gain the establishment's confidence. We can run the show, and the parliament can shoulder the difficulties and the problems and the world issues. And then once we've done that, I don't think there are any other issues.
You're absolutely right when you say that you have to gain people's confidence and prove to them that you can run the government. The problem is Nawaz Sharif, in an interview yesterday, said to me that he's considering taking Musharraf to court, actual legal action for deposing an elected prime minister and abrogating the constitution. That would lose the confidence of the military establishment from day one.
Well, like I said before he goes there, he'll have to consult his friends. And then,
are you confident he'll consult you?
I think he should, and he will. Why would I expect anything less of him? He's my ally. We fought the election nearly together. I intend to take him with me on every issue that is facing Pakistan.
Except he wants vengeance for being thrown out of power by Musharraf. He has a personal animus, which in a sense you don't have against Musharraf.
I think if there's anybody grieved in this whole situation, it's the PPP.
So if you can be restrained, so should he.
You said it, I didn't.
A second problem is his stand on the restoration of the judiciary. Again, yesterday he said to me he wants the new government on day one to restore the judiciary. Is that possible? Is it acceptable? I look at it in a larger concept. I'm the person who the law has been applied against more. How do you know law? Either you read law or you experience law. I've experienced law, and the kind of law which they accept is tailor-made. So in all these scenarios, I think the nation has grown up. We've all traveled a great deal. Let's sit down and do something permanent rather than look for immediate excuses. Except that you are prepared to be patient, to take it step by step. He's actually impatient. When he says that he's demanding restoration on day one, he's putting a test, almost a challenge, in front of his ally.
No, we can always agree upon that position. It's just a mythology. We are not in the business of not taking public opinion with us. We are susceptible to public opinion. The public opinion today says this judiciary must be restored. So I meet them, I speak to them, I talk to them and find a way out of an issue.
Let me put another problem to you. The restoration of the judiciary would almost inevitably lead to the unraveling of the National Reconciliation Ordinance, and all the cases that you were confronted with and which have now been set aside will suddenly come back.
Karan, that's never been an issue. The people who initiated the cases, my friends now and allies now, have apologized to us. By way of apology, they have admitted that they were political cases. The cabinet has passed an NRO and admitted that it was politically motivated cases. So, as far as I'm concerned, this is history which we talk about. And those cases, if they had any matter in them, they would have been able to sentence me in the 8 years I was there.
Absolutely. But nonetheless, the old judiciary struck down the NRO, and if it was to be restored, it would once again strike down the NRO.
Yeah, but then when there will be a package where the judges will be free, then those cases won't matter, because as it is, everybody knows that they are political cases.
So you're hoping that when the judges are restored, they will view this whole issue a little differently?
Not that I'm hoping. I know that the package I'm talking about will give the judiciary the first chance to really be comfortable with themselves. The people have been working under strain, restrained, ordinances, ehtisab laws, laws created, laws nominated.
And so in that scenario, the NRO won't be a problem.
That's never been a problem one way or the other.
What about something else? Today, any government that you form in Islamabad, unless you take the support of the PMLQ, which you said you won't, is critically dependent on the PMLN. But in Lahore, Nawaz Sharif has the numbers to form a government without you. In other words, you're dependent on him, but he doesn't need you. Doesn't that give him an advantage which he could use to keep your government uncertain, weak, and unstable?
Maybe he can use it to keep me in check, which I do want to be kept in check.
You're happy for Nawaz to keep you in check?
I am very happy for everybody, including the media, the judges, Nawaz, to keep me in check. Fine, so let's work from there.
Do you think you need to be kept in check?
I think power is something that Caesar always said, behold, you are a man.
You mean power corrupts?
No, it doesn't corrupt, it makes you lack direction sometimes.
And this is why you want Nawaz Sharif to keep you in check?
No, I want everybody to be observant so everybody shares responsibility. Because if something is happening, Karan, and I by default or by silence let it happen, I think I'm as much responsible as the person who's doing it.
And this is where Nawaz Sharif keeping you in check, keeping a certain uncertainty, keeping a certain, how shall I put it, apprehensiveness is a good thing.
I think challenges are always good. They keep everybody on their position, and people are seeing too much into the fact he is my ally. And the world opinion and the country's opinion today, we're going to do away with the PEMRA ordinance. The press is watching, public at bar and opinion is watching.
You've enunciated something that will take most people completely by surprise. Never before do politicians say, I would like an ally to keep me in check. You've said the unusual. Many will be very pleased to hear it. Let me ask you this. When your new government is formed, what will your role be?
Well, I'll take a leaf out of your politics and do something like political role, talking to the allied parties, making democracy come alive.
You mean you're going to be the Sonia Gandhi of Pakistan?
Oh, she's too great for me to be Sonia.
But that's the sort of role you see for yourself?
No.
Above the government, liaising with the parties and ensuring that the government follows the direction?
Well, I wouldn't put it that way. I don't want to be above the government. I want to be with the government, supporting the government. And then, mind you, we had a giant of 21st century with us. She's still with us spiritually. She's with us in her political acumen, but she's not with us today. So I have to go back to the basic and redevelop the party. There were many faults we had, like all democracies, and they would hide amongst her, glamour, her personality, etc., etc.
So you're going to redevelop the party, Make sure that it overcomes its faults, and at the same time, you're going to be a liaison between the government and other political parties.
Something to that effect.
Which is, in a sense, the Sonia Gandhi role.
Is it? You tell me.
Who will be your Manmohan Singh?
The search is on.
When Benazir Bhutto, your late wife, was assassinated, it was announced that Makhdoom Amin Fahim would be the prime ministerial candidate. Why is the search still on?
Makhdoom Amin Fahim is a very senior person in our party and we respect him tremendously. But the moment, the challenge that we faced, we were looking at that time of getting a 2/3 majority, hopefully. We thought in the party that this is it. We're going to make it, we're going into the election, there's a lot of, but somehow something happened. Something which we haven't been able to put our finger on, and I've called it selective rigging.
So now you need a different person, perhaps?
No, it's not that I need a different person. Now in the party, we're rethinking the position. I mean, Fahim is, of course, the first runner. We're just seeing how are we going to get out of this absolute challenge that we've been faced with. Allies not being there to check us, with the journalists to check us, with the judges' issues coming over. So it's not that it's a thing, but where does one get a Manmohan?
Is this causing a rift in your party? Is it causing differences, as the press in Pakistan suggest?
We haven't really even come to the position where we've been started to select, and there are many front runners.
So the choice of Prime Minister is still some days away?
Few days away.
And it's still an open matter?
Yes, sure.
Does it need to be someone from Sindh?
Pakistan People's Party is a federal party.
So it could be a Punjabi?
It could be a Balochi, could be a Pathan.
In other words, it's wide open at the moment.
In other words, it could be.
Let's take a break there, Mr. Zardari. In part 2, I want to talk to you about the sort of policies your government will pursue towards India. That's in a moment's time. See you after the break. Welcome back to Devil's Advocate and an interview with the chairman of the Pakistan People's Party, Asif Zardari. Mr. Zardari, let's turn to the sort of relationship your government would have with India. For the last 4 years under Pervez Musharraf and Manmohan Singh, the two countries believe they've had the best relationship ever. How can you ensure that momentum continues?
I think they may probably have had their best understanding ever because there are other monitors in the neighborhood. But the kind of relations I look at, or the Pakistan People's Party wants, hasn't really happened.
You mean you're determined to take it to a yet higher stage?
I want to take it to a stage of such confidence building that the fear factor diminishes from both angles.
How will you do this?
People-to-people contact should be improved, and then trade, interdependence of trade. If Indian energy, if Indian industry depends on Pakistan energy, and I depend on Indian market for my product to be sold, we're both interdependent, financially integrated, industry-wise. That's people to.
So you want to link the two countries together first at the level of trade and create interdependency?
Yes. The idea is that India needs to be a superpower, economical superpower. It cannot go without energy. The energy corridors are with me.
And you will guarantee India's security of energy if they were to develop the pipeline idea so that a pipeline goes from Iran via Pakistan to India.
By the way, that pipeline is the PPP conceived idea.
And you're committed to it?
We're committed to it, but we have gas otherwise, and we have the capacity to build power plants on our coal before India can.
So trade barriers and the mindset that actually discourages people to trade between each other, you're determined to break those.
That's the idea.
One of the problems that you face is many people in India believe that the Kashmir issue can best be sorted out when an army rule is in Islamabad. How do you convince them to the contrary?
Well, we've had army rule for 8 years. Have they solved it? I don't need to convince it. It talks for itself.
One of the problems you face is that in July 2006, the PPP and the PMLN signed a Charter of Democracy committing themselves to sorting out Kashmir in line with the UN resolutions. Since 2004, General Musharraf has moved away from that position, and as a result, a whole new attitude and approach to Kashmir has started between the two countries. Are you not winding the clock back?
No, I'm not winding clocks or rewinding or dewinding clocks. I'm not just getting hostage to that issue. The idea is that we feel for Kashmir. People's Party has always felt for Kashmir. We have a strong Kashmir policy. We've always had one. But having said that, we don't want to be hostage to that situation. That is a situation we can agree to disagree. Countries do. We have positions. You have positions. We can agree to disagree on everything.
So the UN resolution need not be a breaking point. You can agree to disagree on it.
We can agree to disagree on it. We can wait. We can be patient till everybody grows up further. Maybe the coming generation grows up even further. And then let's interact as human beings and come to a position of love.
You've said something that I think is very important. You're saying we can agree to disagree, we can be patient, we can wait till people grow up. Are you suggesting that a bit like India and China, where they have a border dispute, India and Pakistan can also agree, we have a dispute, we disagree over it, but let's put it aside for a while and let the rest of our relationship develop.
Exactly.
So that when the relationship improves, then we can come back and with the benefit of an improved relationship, tackle this border problem.
Tackle the border problem. Then everybody seems, today they're fixed notions. When dependency increases, we're matured enough, we got trust between us, then nobody has fixed issues.
So in other words, leave the border issue for a wiser generation and a better time. Let's get on with our relationship.
Get on with our
Let's
relationship.
become friends. Then we'll tackle our problems.
As it is, it's going to be a no-border world in the end.
Do you think you will have the support of your allies right across the Pakistani political establishment for this very novel attitude, very brave attitude to Kashmir?
I think the economical dependency that I'm talking about, nobody has really made aware, the Pakistanis, what position they are and what they can gain.
And when they realize that they can gain from trade with India, the resistance will disappear.
When they realize that they can change, the world will change, economically we'll become so, it's 1,000% leap we'll get into. And the benefit of the 1,000% leap is going to affect across the board.
As I hear you, you're talking about a complete change in the manner in which India and Pakistan relate to each other, and therefore a change in the relationship itself. To set the ball rolling, do you think it would be a good idea for the new Prime Minister of Pakistan, whoever he or she may be, to pay an early visit to get to know Dr. Manmohan Singh and Sonia Gandhi, and perhaps to get to know politicians of other parties as well, so that a personal initiative is started as early as possible to bring about the change you want?
I think we should go further than that. Just not visiting and meeting and, let's get on with the ball. Let's hit the road running. Let's meet with concrete steps. Let's talk about SARC. Let's talk about modern technology. What is the worry? The worry is that we might send some spooks here, you might send some scoops there, something like that. Let's take modern technology and use it as practical.
So if Dr. Manmohan Singh is hearing this interview and says, I think I'm going to invite the new Prime Minister to Delhi quickly to get to know him, do you think the new Prime Minister of Pakistan is likely to accept?
I think the new Prime Minister of Pakistan will not only visit India, he will visit India with the political parties' leaders following him. When he gets down, he'll be first, me, Mr. Nawaz Sharif, Mr. Asif Ali, hopefully Mr. Maulana Fazl Rahman, hopefully Mr. Altaf's party, we should all walk behind him, greeting India.
So in fact, this will be the new Pakistan led by the new Prime Minister, but all the political leaders there with him to tell the Indians, we're united in putting our hand forward for friendship, shake hands with us and let's move together.
Exactly.
You said something revolutionary, I should say that to you. It will attract a lot of attention in India. Are you worried you could face a backlash in your country?
That's what leadership is all about. That's what popularity is all about. The fact that I do something with the will of the people is my plus, not my minus.
Asif Zardari, a pleasure talking to you on Devil's Advocate.
Thank you, sir.